Hey folks, welcome back to the channel with me, Henry. Today we're going to dissect this project I created, a visual identity for Cisco Ramon. Cisco is a character from the Arrowverse or the DC universe or whatever they want to call it these days. And this video is a request from EXBK3767. So dude, this video is for you. Let's get right to it. Step 1. Exploring the character. I will reiterate this time and again. Don't ever go straight to visuals. While it is tempting, you will end up sketching without any sort of direction. Kind of what I did here. See? To avoid this, we need to understand who he is, what he does, and what makes him special. Okay, so if you're watching The Flash from Season 1, Episode 1, you will immediately identify that Cisco is the tech guy.
I make the toys, man.
Throughout the show, he is shown to be a brilliant mechanical engineer, the one who designs and builds all the gadgets for Team Flash. He appreciates old-school mechanics as well as futuristic tech, often combining the two. The dude is also a pop culture addict and likes to drop references all the time. Cisco is also Vibe, a metahuman with an extraordinary ability to sense and manipulate vibrations. He can unleash powerful shockwaves, detect disruptions across space and time, and open interdimensional portals. Scary stuff, eh? So, if we write a description for him, it would be an extraordinary engineer who designs and constructs the gadgets that keep Team Flash running, while also helping the cause as a metahuman called Vibe. He blends technical brilliance and humor through his love for pop culture references. He brings creativity, humor, and innovation to every project. Step 2. Problem identification. Okay, so a brand identity has to solve a problem. Now, what kind of problem does Cisco have? Well, this is a spec project, so we are allowed to imagine things. In this case, we're reimagining Cisco as a fresh graduate who comes to Central City looking for work. If he wants recruiters to notice him, he needs to look and feel different. And that's why he needs a visual identity system. With a solid visual system, he can also build his presence online. Step 3. Visual direction. Now, do you remember the description in Step 1? It's filled with keywords, isn't it? But we can't use them all. We have to prioritize. We just pick the ones that are relevant to help him secure a job. That means it's a blend between his personality and what he does for a living. Anything else is irrelevant. Now, from these keywords, we need to write a visual direction to get ourselves focused on the task at hand, or the scope of the project. And that could look something like this. Step 4. Mood boarding. Now let's get started with the visuals. In this step, we will gather images that will help us shape the visual identity. They can be images of tech, modern and old, or anything that is related to his work. We then look at the typography style. Which one should we choose? Is it sans serif, slab serif, or serif? Remember, Cisco is required to solve problems on the spot, so the type has to feel fluid. And this is tech, so I chose a sans serif typeface, Magistral. I hope I didn't butcher that.
Magistral.
Because it feels digital, modern, and flexible. And do you see the rounded edges here? And these are clues of how we're going to draw this symbol. Let's move on to colors first. What kind of color that describes what he does? Just look at the images we collected. There's green from a PCB, there's copper from these rotating gears, and we complete the palette with black and white. I made this a bit lighter and this a bit darker for a slight variation. Now let's find the samples of the symbol that we're trying to make. What's in the keywords? Constructional, analog tech, and vibrations. Let's open Pinterest and I'll type in constructional logos. Okay, what strikes me the most is the number of line art here. Let's see what comes up if I type in constructional lines. See? When we say constructional, this is what we get. Now let's see vibrational logos. There. We're trying to combine the two styles because in one instance in the series he was seen wearing this t-shirt, which is where I got the idea from. Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures. Let's collect what we have and put it into the mood board. Step 5. Visualization. Now we're at the fun part, making the symbol. So we want it to feel constructional and vibrational. The only thing that we're missing is analog tech. Where do we draw the connection between these three elements? If you're as old as me, we had this thing called a Betamax player. And if you take a closer look, it has this universal playback icons. And they are still used even to this day. This is the symbol. All we have to do is figure out how we can combine these elements and claim it as Cisco's visual identity. This is when we start sketching. I like making things simple, so I took advantage of his initials, C and R, and here's how I drew the symbol. Take this fast forward icon, flip this one side and divide it horizontally into 9 columns. Remove these two on the edges, and let's snap these dots into the lines of the 2 triangular frames. Now let's remove the triangles. Let's move this part upwards so the bottom part snaps at the center of the left arrow. We'll divide this by 3. We move it upwards while pressing the Alt key so we copy it at the same time, and do the same thing downwards. Remove the middle part and we've got the C. The R is a bit tricky. We need to create the lobe and the tail part to make an R. Let's move the end part here so the top would snap at the center of the 3rd line, and the bottom part snaps right here. The last part, this line. Let's measure this first, and as you guessed it, this part should snap at this line. All we have to do now is thicken the lines and choose the rounded cap. This concludes the symbol. Now we're going to turn this into a functioning logo. To do that, we need to combine the symbol with the color palette and the typography. And we also need lockups, both horizontal and vertical. The easy way is to duplicate the symbol into 3 copies. This will dictate the length of the word mark. The distance between the symbol and the word mark should be the same as the height of the word mark. And underneath the word mark is a small detail that tells what the brand is. Same technique for the distance. You can adjust the tracking optically however you want, but I prefer it this way. For the horizontal lockup, again, we're using the height of the brand mark for the distance and just make everything center aligned. Once we feel everything is balanced optically, it's good to go. Step 6. Application. This is the last step. A logo alone is not enough to make up an identity. Why? Well, let's think about it this way. People might recognize your face, but they probably don't know what you do for a living. And that's why people say don't judge a book by its cover. In the world of brands, the logo is the face. While it may contain some information, it doesn't tell the whole story. And that's why you need a brand identity system so people can find out more about you. And we need to apply that system somewhere. That's where marketing collateral comes in. But it's not just any collateral. We need to choose it carefully. In Cisco's case, a presentation deck is a must. A business card, of course. Then he'll need a website. I didn't make a functioning website. This was made in Illustrator. Some merchandising if he wants to grow his presence online and how he looks on those platforms. And there you have it. That's the whole identity. And you might be wondering why. Why a spec project? Why this character? Well, if you're just starting out as a designer and you don't have a proper portfolio, you can use your surroundings, or your hobbies, or the shows you've been watching and just create something. Turn those into a passion project. Clients or even recruiters might like it. Not all of them, obviously we can't make everyone happy, just those that matter. And that concludes the video for today. So I hope you enjoy it and I hope you can learn something from it. If you want to support the channel, subscribe to me so I can make more of these. Bye.